Is this the perfect time to talk about it? Because this is when I talk about this in the course. Is that a yes from the dog outside? What's the difference between an avoider and a seeker? Because, I've been dogging 5-trait people. I just think that people who really sell products to help you understand your big five personality traits, I don't know, luckily their prices are always reasonable. In general, are you willing to throw money that way in order to support a cause? Yeah, that's arguable. But big five personality traits as a whole, I think that I've been presenting ideas that are interesting and intelligent from Tom's book. I don't know, should I keep the avoider seeker? Big five personality traits means what? We lay down one of the big five personality traits. I think it's called extroversion. I think in general, extroverts are seekers, leans in, raises voice, engages, seeks pleasure, self, growth mindset, mastery, consistency, competency, completion. All right, so this is a question. We've been talking about shaping potential. And then we have something called a growth mindset. That's exactly the same thing. Shaping potential is the growth mindset. In this situation, there's something that has been, it's linking. We have the self in the middle, and then we are linking the seeking of pleasure and a growth mindset. We're saying that actually a growth mindset is when somebody feels pleasure from mastering consistency, competency, completion. These are people who are extremely high in what? Big five personality trait. You're back on the list because you're in the dictionary. I can't move further in my explanation without using conscientiousness. We need to know the big five because they're just, it's like that video game where you could dial in, dial out, you could change, and they had the big five personality traits. And then this can change character behavior in the game. So that you just make some little changes and then it's going to change the way that different characters interact with you. But what do you mean? What kind of game is this? What if I get a person who's high in conscientiousness? How is that going to affect the way that I communicate with this AI chatbot in this game? So I don't know the answer to that. Obviously, there are several answers to it, and people have already experienced that. I haven't experienced it. Next, it is seeking hope. What's the difference between pleasure and hope? The difference between pleasure and hope. So in here, in the middle, it's called hunt. Goal-oriented. So this is called seeking for hope. Wow. Okay, so pleasure, first of all, I'm having a difficult time connecting the self to consistency is pleasure. So somehow, how do I equate pleasure with consistency? And also completion, because I do not get the same feeling of pleasure, certainly not with consistency. In fact, I'm this way. So I feel like consistency is painful. My question is, how can I increase my conscientiousness? Is that the same thing? Is it conscientiousness is people who feel pleasure from consistency and completion and competency and mastery? These people who are highly competitive. I don't know, maybe we should stop there because that's a lot of information. All right, so there's the hunt. The thing is that I'm definitely not. See, this is the problem. So I don't avoid fear. I am goal-oriented. I seek hope. I like hunting. All right, and finally, it's about avoiding rejection, seeking social acceptance, the tribe. The thing is that cooperation I think these are slightly different. The question is, do I have an issue? When I say that I avoid rejection, and maybe that is me. Maybe it's me. Because I don't seek social acceptance. To me, it's not the opposite. It's not that it's not seeking social acceptance equals avoiding rejection. Therefore, cooperation, I think, is something different than seeking social acceptance. I could be forced to cooperate. Hey, let's play a game, okay? In a game, you have a position, and each position works together in order to complete tasks, which are goal-oriented. I can play with other people to complete the task, but it has nothing to do with seeking social acceptance. Competition, that doesn't necessarily mean seeking social acceptance. Recognition, this is obviously seeking some type of social acceptance. That's the whole definition of the word recognition. And finally, empathetic joy. I don't know what that is, but that's fantastic. Empathetic joy. This is my church experience. I grew up in a church, and whatever brand, I mean, it just means that it describes characteristics of the majority of the people who also, identify with that group. Everything is about tribe. And sometimes people get hung up with like brands of religion. And it's like, I think that every social tribe is a little bit different. And then having some rules for the social tribe to be able to compete on and to learn about, and to, especially if there are principles that are helpful in a person's life. Because the thing is that a tribe is going to influence people's behavior. When there are certain rules and regulations that can help people to change their behavior, then at some point people are going to make mistakes, and just like in any organization in general, but usually if you have some kind of social structure based on principles, people have some stronger social cohesion because they want to get closer to people who have similar standards. They call them morals. Somebody either experiences something terrible or does something terrible. And then in that case, there's something called empathetic joy. Some people, when they make those kinds of mistakes or do those kinds of things or have those things done to them, then maybe they don't want to talk about it with anyone. And so some social organizations, they ask people to talk about the mistakes that they made. Anyways, usually people find out at some point. People are going to decide whether they are going to remember. We had a little lesson about empathetic joy. When it comes to certain things, I'm a seeker. And when it comes to certain things, I'm an avoider. And the question is, do we keep this in the course? Because like nobody really gets to this. I mean, I just figure, is this the perfect time to talk about it? Because this is when I talk about this in the course. Is that a yes from the dog outside? Great. All right, so apparently that is kind of useful. Let's just finish up with this little thing. Remember, the question was, what do you do if the student cancels and then you want to provide something of value? You want to make progress in your life? Get to work.